everyone! Welcome to another episode of GTV. So for today, I have my friends with me. Grabe, sobrang na-miss ko tong mga ladies na to. So I have San, Tina, Marielle, and Michelle from Educating for Life. So today, when I release a video for homeschooling, marami po sa inyo yung nagtanong about like more specific questions and more questions about homeschooling that you wanted sana for us to address. So I think sa mga group of friends ko, these ladies will do a good job really in answering all of your questions. So before we get to your questions, siguro ladies, can you please introduce yourselves? One by one na lang tayo. Yan. Let's start with San. Hi, San.
Hello, I am San, and I am a homeschooling mom of one. She's now 10 years old. She's been homeschooled ever since.
Wow. Okay. Next, we have Tina.
Hi, I'm Tina, and I am a homeschooling mom of 5. So, different ages. And they've been homeschooled ever since also. We are in Bulacan now. We live in Bulacan.
Nako, maraming magtatanong siguro sa'yo after this episode, Tina. Kasi 5, diba? How do you handle like group of 5 children, diba? So, okay. Next, Marielle. How are you, Marielle?
Hi, Ginge. Dapat pala muna, you have to tell them that you were once part of our group.
Yes!
Yes!
Don't forget, that's part of our history. We worked for
That's
how many
right.
years? So I'm Marielle, and I have 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been homeschooling for around 9 years.
Wow. Okay. Yes. To add to what Marielle said. Yes, before we were actually creating mga conferences for homeschoolers. So medyo naging busy lang with other stuff like Taksumo. I'm sure alam naman nila yon. So so that's why I miss these ladies. Ang tagal na namin hindi nagkikita talaga. Grabe.
Oo nga.
Too long.
So,
We miss you too, Ginge.
Okay, yan si Michelle. Yan, another.
Hi.
Yes, Michelle. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Michelle Padrelanan. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 children for many, many years already. My eldest is already 20. Oh, she's turning 25 this year.
Wow.
She's working in Doha now. She's a homeschool graduate. And then my second one is 21 years old, also a homeschool graduate. And then I still have 2 at home that I'm homeschooling. So sila, ever since then, I've been homeschooling them. So mga 17 years na siguro ako nag-homeschool. Yan.
Wow, veterana na yan si Michelle.
Oo
So,
nga
homeschooling, grabe.
Parang ang tanda ko na eh.
Yeah. So, ladies, okay, so I think baka before we go to the questions, maybe like tell us more about Educating for Life and why is this something that you're really passionate about? Why is homeschooling something that you're passionate about?
So Educating for Life is, it was founded a few years ago back when we started organizing the annual Philippine Homeschool Conventions. And so we really wanted events to help support homeschoolers and those who are interested in homeschooling because we believe that it's really it's a good way to educate our children. It's something new for all of us, but it's also something that we really believe will benefit our children and a lot of families. So that's why we decided to form Educating for Life and organize all these events for the families.
Okay. So, like, for Tina naman, for example, I mean, maraming nakikinig sa atin that is basically considering homeschooling and natatakot sila if kaya nila. So, what made you eventually like decide to homeschool your children?
Wow. For us, it was really more of like a call. Like my husband and I we were based in another country as missionaries. That's when we first heard about it. And I think for us, the main reasons were, related to our faith, our values. We wanted to be the main educators and formators of our kids when it came
Mhm.
to values. I'm not saying na, parents who don't homeschool don't
Mhm.
like care about their kids' values, diba? But for us, we felt that homeschooling was the best way. And we heard kasi stories of missionaries and other people sharing like the benefits of homeschooling for them and how it really helped in strengthening the relationships as a family. So for us, it was more of the home part of homeschooling and not the schooling that
Yeah.
drew us to it. Strengthening our home, our relationships. So and up to now, we pray about it every year if it's still our call, and up to now, it's still something that we feel we're called to do, even if these ladies know that many times I want to give up, I want to quit and say, tama ba tong ginagawa ko? It's just so yeah. So I'm very grateful for these ladies who always remind me, why are you doing what you're doing and all that.
So in
So, yeah.
terms of real talk naman, no, Mariel, like yan, sabi nga ni San na parang there are times that you really want to give up sa homeschooling. Like, how do you get back on track? And what do you do to get back on track?
So, ito, essentially before, I felt that way siguro or around the time I gave birth to my third child. So I have three, about 12, 9, and now 4 years
Mhm.
old. So when I gave birth to her, I found myself not really teaching my children, and I felt overwhelmed because I had a baby. I didn't know what to do. But then I realized one day that I just remembered, I just tried to remember
Mhm.
what made me decide to homeschool in the first place and what my commitments were to my children.
Yeah.
And remembering that again just made me act essentially again
Mhm.
and started making plans. Because essentially before talaga, when I gave birth, around 2 months, I wasn't able to do anything
Yeah.
because I was nursing, I was sleeping all the time. And I didn't know what. I was just so tired. And then after, parang, wait a minute, I quit my job because I was working before, and then I quit my job years before that. But so my husband and I decided to homeschool our children, I quit my job to do this, and I should do my best
Yeah.
to give my all. And so there, from that realization, um, I started making plans again on what to do. And then I told myself, okay, so I have to really dedicate time to my children. No matter kung ano man yung gagawin namin, basta we have time together. So that was like parang mornings
Mhm.
until lunchtime. I would be with them. I would focus on them. And then during that period also, I couldn't homeschool full blast, right? So I just chose the important subjects. For example, we had math, pero they were a bit younger then, so it was a bit easier. But
Yeah.
we had math, we read books, and we read books about our faith, about the Catholic faith, essentially, because that's what I want to teach them. And then I just stuck to those three subjects, I guess,
Mhm.
and went from there. And then after that, I felt more confident again. Yun lang, that's how I got my groove back, essentially.
That's nice. So, I think this is what we can also do, no, later on for like parents who decide to homeschool. Like really go back to bakit nga ba kayo nag-start in the beginning, no? And like commitment It's really a commitment to your children. Tama yung sinabi ni Mariel. Okay, so now let's go to Michelle. So Michelle, I could possibly say that you've seen it all kasi yung mga anak mo like different levels and you have a kid that
Yeah.
graduated already. So, ano kaya yung mga learnings that you can share with parents? Ganun din with multiple ages and then what have you seen or what are the learnings that you can share?
So, I actually have two that graduated. Although yung panganay ko, graduate na siya all the way from college. But graduated from homeschooling. So, I homeschooled them from my panganay, I homeschooled her from grade 1 up to high school. And the rest of our kids, ever since birth, homeschooled na sila. Sa 17 years na nag-homeschool ako, so marami na kaming napagdaanan. Ganyan din ako na gusto kong mag-give up at times, lalo na nung umpisa, siguro mga first 5 years, isip lang ako ng isip, tama pa ba 'tong ginagawa ko? Tama pa ba 'tong ginagawa ko? Lagi lang gano'n, 5 years, imagine na ginagawa ko siya, pero the whole time may pagdududa ako sa sarili ko, tama pa ba 'tong ginagawa ko? Baka naman mamaya maging mali pala ang decision namin. Naku, oh no. Tapos parang there were times na I become so anxious about it, hindi ako makatulog. Baka mamaya na-damage ko na sila for life. Mga ganong tipo.
Naku, ang dami nakaka-relate dyan.
Oo, baka mamaya na-damage ko na sila for life. Takot na takot ako. Baka ito nangyari, ganito, ganyan. Pero ang blessing sa amin, kasi yung agwat na, para ako may 2 batches of students. Kasi yung agwat ng kids namin, from number 1 and number 2, 3 years lang ang agwat nila. And then, yung from number 2 to number 3, 6 years. So, matagal. So,
Okay.
parang, syempre, una kong napagdaanan yung sa dalawang nauna naming anak. And then, tsaka itong dalawa. So, parang yung unang dalawa, experiment. Itong second batch, alam ko na kung anong gagawin ko. Pero ang pinaka parang experiment talaga, syempre panganay.
Yes.
So, yung tip ko, ang tip ko para sa mga, lalo na sa mga mag-uumpisa ngayon, especially during this pandemic, is wag masyadong matakot or wag masyadong magpa-stress tungkol dito. Syempre, hindi naman talaga madali itong ginagawa natin, lalo na sa mga parents na nagtatrabaho. Kasi ako this whole time din nagtatrabaho din naman ako. Hindi talaga naman madali yung ginagawa natin. Tapos hindi naman lang, ang dami pa natin ibang roles, di ba? So, para in order for us to go the long haul, number 1, huwag masyadong magpa-stress tungkol dito. So, para hindi ka ma-stress, gawin nyo na yung mga, paplanuhin nyo na syempre kung ano mangyayari sa year ninyo. Pero ang una doon, tatanggapin mo muna sa sarili mo. Tanggapin mo muna sa sarili mo na ikaw na yung nagtuturo ng mga anak mo at nandyan lang kayo sa bahay the whole time. You know? And tanggapin mo na sa sarili mo na hindi madali itong pinasok mo. Tapos, pag-aralan nyo na kung paano ba talaga mag-homeschooling. Pero alam nyo, kahit na, di ba, girls, kahit na ang dami na nating librong na nabasa tungkol sa homeschooling, hindi naman talaga natin yun malalaman kung ano talaga, unless we're already right there doing it. So, yun nga yung gusto kong sabihin lagi sa mga parents. Kasi yung mga parents, mahilig talaga sila mag-research, magbasa, mag-attend ng conference, etc., etc. Pero takot na takot pa rin sila mag-umpisa. Diba? Mag-umpisa na ba ako? Mag-umpisa. Gusto ko na. Pero hindi. Ganyan pa rin sila. Pero ako, just dive into it. Get right into it. Kasi that's the only way you'll know and experience how it is like. And then, the other thing is, just be confident with yourselves. Nako, if a parent is working or graduate naman, basta nagtatrabaho, ang dami mong matuturo sa mga anak mo.
Totoo.
Huwag ka matakot na dahil sa hindi ka teacher, ay hindi mo matuturuan yung anak mo. Hindi yun totoo. Kayang-kaya maturuan ng anak mo.
So yung time nga nakausap ko nga tong 4 ladies na to, like years ago, talagang hindi ako nag-homeschool because of fear. Actually, na hindi ko kaya, di ba? Yun naman talaga yung reason ko and I'll be honest, na parang feeling ko busy ako, na wala akong time for tutoring or like magre-research about plans, di ba? Yung mga, kasi kailangan mo mag-plan, ano yung tuturo mo for the day. Pero yung na-realize ko, and I think a lot of women and daddies actually, mommies and daddies, what they're realizing right now is that kaya pala. Like ako, for example, kami, Zika still has school hanggang next week. Pero for the previous weeks, kami nagtuturo sa kanya kasi syempre, di ba, kahit nasabihin mo distance learning, ikaw pa rin yung mag-guide dito at home, kayo pa rin magtuturo. So, tama si Michelle, just try and go do it. Okay. Okay, so for our questions, I got a lot of questions from the readers. So we'll just go through four, no? So the first question that they were asking, would there be a syllabus or guideline for parents to follow so that appropriate lessons are given at appropriate times? For example, no, I don't know whether to start with nouns or sentence structure in English, or whether to start with number lines or addition, subtraction in math. So meron bang ganon? Like, are there specific guidelines?
Yes, so if you enroll in a homeschool provider, the provider usually provides, gives you guidelines and materials. Actually, they have recommended materials also. But even if you don't enroll, actually, if you're concerned about those things, DepEd's scope and sequence is actually free online. So it's available online and you can just download it and refer to it. And if you want to look for your own materials and how to teach all those subjects, so you're free to do so also. So meron namang guide, either through the provider or through yun nga, DepEd, which is free online.
So, nasa website lang yun, San? As in, yung DepEd na...
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
okay.
Google ang DepEd scope and sequence. And then, ito siya, from kinder to, well, hanggang grade, I think, hanggang senior high. But no, not senior high. I guess grade, yeah.
Okay, sige. So, ilalagay natin yan sa show notes natin. So, okay, ito. What specific materials naman do we need before starting homeschooling? Like, meron like markers, binders, notebooks, pens, crayons. Actually, ito, isa tong frequently asked question na. Kasi for example, I think yung idea ng mga parents, let's say, magtuturo ako ng volcanoes. So, kailangan lahat ng mga material, modeling clay, lahat ng mga ganun, kailangan nasa bahay. Pero let's be honest, no? I'm sure naman na meron din tayo mga parents kasi na wala namang resources talaga sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon. Even like, resources to buy yung mga ganitong klaseng material. So, ano ba yung mga essentials at least?
I think more than ano yung materials that you need. Kasi ngayon with the crisis going on now and yun nga yung shift to home-based education, whether it's online learning or homeschooling, I think yung mindset kasi is, what do I need? What books do I need? Ano yung mga gamit na kailangan ko? Kailangan ko ba ng homeschool room? Kailangan ko ba ng separate area? But more than that, I think what parents need is the openness of mind and of heart to look into themselves and look at their kids and see what is it that they really need at this point. Because it's not homeschooling or teaching at home under the normal circumstances kasi. So, I think Michelle also said this in one of our Facebook Live sessions na parents also need to like get the stress or the, what term did you use before, Michelle? Yung parang burden of feeling na you have to acknowledge that this is, all of us are going through something. There's a crisis or stress.
I don't remember the term.
Stress yata yon, Michelle. Parang you need to accept muna na it's a stressful situation that all of us are going through. And even if you have all the resources to buy all the materials, kung hindi mo hindi mo if you cannot look into yourself and see na parang my kids are home with me, how am I gonna deal with that? I'm working all the time. I have to work for a fixed hour. How am I going to deal with that? Even if you have everything, baka hindi rin maging successful kasi yung homeschooling or teaching at home because yung mindset is different. Yung mindset might still be, I have to bring the school to my home. And that's not how it should be. Yun. So parang ako kasi, yun din ang sinasabi ko. Yun din ang common questions ngayon. Parang what do I need? What curriculum can you recommend? What homeschool provider can you recommend? I really can't recommend just one because it's really about you and your family and your kids and the situation that you're in now, diba? So parang there are guides ngayon as San mentioned, DepEd has on their website yung basic education curriculum, the scope and sequence. There are also guides, free online curriculum that they teach you what to teach and what to say. but it's really the mindset. That's the first equipment, quote unquote,
Yeah.
that parents need to have the mindset and the heart to see yung opportunity that you have now, that we have now to take back. Yun. Binanggit din yan, Michelle. Kinukot ko lang siya doon sa Facebook Live namin dati. So yung opportunity to take back your role as
Your authority.
yes, your authority
Take back your authority
of your
as a
child.
parent.
Yes.
Meron akong follow-up question. Kasi ako, syempre talaga wala akong clue, di ba? Like how homeschooling is. So, based on what you're saying, no, ang idea ko ngayon ng homeschooling is, okay, so, pupunta ako sa site ng, let's say, DepEd or provider, bibigyan nila ako ng, okay, ang lesson ko for today, let's say, for, okay, values formation, let's say, sharing, ganyan. Kunwari, yun yung topic for today. Tapos for math, let's say, number line, ganon. So, yun yung ituturo ko, di ba? Tapos bahala na lang ako just to put things like in perspective or kung, I mean, tama pa tong idea ko of how it is, no? But kunwari, yun yung ituturo ko for the day. So, tuturuan ko yung anak ko ng sharing in whatever means possible. Maghanap ako YouTube video, okay lang ba yun? Tapos, like, number line, kung meron ako like workbook dito or turo ko sa kanya sa papel, ako magdodrawing ng number line. Ganun ba siya? Like, how, is that how it is?
Sige. Saan you want to answer?
I think number one, Lynch, is again to remember that it's not bringing the schooling as a whole. Because with that mindset, ang next kong sasabihin is that it really varies per family, varies per child. So, yun yung sinasabi din ni Tina, I guess, na openness of mind and heart, because it's not one size fits all. Much as we want to say na, ito yung gawin ninyo, this will work kasi yung anak ni Michelle, ito yung ginawa, and she was a successful class. So, it's really knowing how your family's rhythm, how your child learns best. So, marami siyang ganong varieties. And if you begin, again, go back to the mindset and go back to the why you're doing it, everything else, I guess, will follow it. So, parang you're just following then your rhythm, your child, and your interest. So, hindi siya ganon na parang, although, of course, it helps. There are some parents, these guides help the parent. May value din naman yun, of course. But
there are providers, diba, San?
Yeah.
There are providers that provide parent-teacher training.
Yes.
So most providers do that. So hindi yung parang, ito na yung books or ito yung recommended namin, bahala ka na.
Okay.
But, especially new parents, they can guide you. They have coaches or they have advisors, ganyan. Staff who can help you out if you're enrolled with a provider. If you're not, there are homeschooling communities, there are support groups, fellow homeschoolers who can also help out. Pero yun nga, yung ultimately, if you're asking like, anong topic, may guide naman yun. Diba? Pero how you teach it, it depends din nga on your resources, diba?
And depends on
the child, diba? On the child. And availability of resources kasi nga ngayon we know that a lot of people then lost income or have no stable income, so you have to rely talaga on the resources na readily available kung hindi mo afford bumili ng books or curriculum, diba? So yun.
Okay, thank you. I think I have a pretty good idea already, and I think you viewers natin have a pretty good idea of where to start. No? So in terms naman of, I think this next question is related also to seeing if they're doing a good job as in terms of like homeschooling their kids, or meron ba yung how do you measure actually if you're doing a good job? Kasi yung next question natin is, I've read a lot of mentions of portfolios. So I guess yung portfolio, it's a way of tracking, diba? In HOP FB. How can we make this, given the ECQ and GCQ in place, can this be done via email, for example, via PowerPoint presentation or images of activities, instead of using binders to physically send to school? And also related to this, baka you can discuss more of how to track yung like how to track how you're doing basically, no, in terms of homeschooling.
Parang,
Gusto mo sumagot.
ano na?
Kasi feel kong gusto mong sagutin yan.
Ako?
Let's
Sige,
go,
yan sa'yo.
Arya.
Sige na, sagutin mo na.
Ako. Hindi.
Sige, ikaw na nga.
Hindi, ang sasabihin ko lang kasi I think yung one measure lang talaga that a parent can use in order to find out if she's doing a good job in teaching her children. Siguro if the child ends up loving learning or parang enjoying learning, because if we just track yung mga, it's a separate thing altogether. So we have to also be concerned muna with our kids enjoying being with us siguro na in terms of learning, and saka na pwedeng isipin ng, is my child really learning? Pero yung second part na yan, yung practical thing naman, sa ngayon, siguro pwede ipunin mo lang yung mga ginagawa nyo. Parang ganyan. You just keep it and put it in a folder and then arrange it eventually, and you can submit it to, if you have a provider, you can submit it through email. Mostly naman, they would agree na these days. Pero yun, it's really not about that. Kasi ako, nag-enjoy ako gumawa ng mga ganyan. Pero because I like organizing things, but it's not really something that I look at as what my child actually learned. Kasi I see it every day naman if my child is learning something, and also that my child loves to learn. Yung hindi niya ako pinagtataguan kapag learn na, tapos wala na sila. Yun. So parang different. Iba yung tracking, medyo madali nga yun eh. Kasi you can just harapan mo yan ng worksheet, picturean mo, that's part of your portfolio, right? But that's not what we're after. We're after making our kids love to learn with us.
Ang ganda nun, Mariel. Super. Kasi like a lot of parents, ganun pa rin eh, mahilig mag-compare. Like, paano ko malalaman kung marunong siya magbasa versus yung mga ka-age niya. So, pero ang ganda nun, kasi what we really strive as parents, strive to do as parents, is it's instill that. And we want them to be inquisitive. We want them to be curious pa rin of things. Diba? Even when they grow up iba talaga yung curious ka sa mga nangyayari, and then you do something so that ma-address yung curiosity mo. So parang ang ganda ng sinabi mo about that. So speaking of creativity, for Michelle naman, so I want, ito yung sabi niya, if I want to be creative in teaching my child, diba? So we know na parang it's different really for each child, no? What do you and how do you come up with creative ideas? Any resources available? Yun.
Wow. Creative. Hindi pa naman yan ang hinahanda akong sagutan. Pero sige. Meron akong sinulat. I was taking note kanina kasi meron akong sasabihin later. But in answer to that question, kasi gusto niya maging creative.
Yes, gusto niya maging creative.
I congratulate the parent who asked that. Buti na lang, gusto niya maging creative. Kasi ibig sabihin, bukas ang isip niya. Kasi Ginge, listening to the questions that your readers have sent in, I get the feeling that most of them ask these questions from the mindset of parang they have to do as well as the schools do in educating their child, diba? Kailangan, tama yung reader mo na yan when she said that she wants to be creative. Kasi kailangan nga talaga maging creative tayo. Hindi tayo yung school, so let's not do as the schools do. We're homeschooling, yun na. Diretso na yan. Let's not do what the schools do. Wag. Kasi, the schools are there. They're just there talagang to teach lang. And iba yung situation nila dun eh. They have all the students coming in, and then the teachers, kailangan may classroom management pa siya, etc., etc. Pero tayong mga parents who are learning at home or who are educating our kids at home, we're totally different, in a totally different situation. And we really have to be very creative. Una pa lang, in the planning of the day, di ba? Kasi hindi lang naman, we're not just teaching our kids. We're doing so many other things. So we have to plan today and we have to be creative in how our kids can learn. Pero ang una talaga dyan para malaman, para lumabas kung ano yung creative resources na pwede is first of all, get to know their kid.
Mhm.
Get to know their kid. Yun muna. How do their kids want to learn ba? Is the kid dynamic? Galaw ba ng galaw? Ang likot-likot? Pagka ang likot-likot ng kid mo, hindi mo makukuha yun sa pabasa-basa. Ang hirap-hirap. Mag-aaway lang kayo. Yung anak mo ba, yan, meron namang anak, pwede na ba sa kanya yung quietly reading? O di, love, bigyan mo na maraming libro, basa kayo ng basa. Pero baka naman yung anak mo ay mas gusto niyang, okay siya matuto by hearing. Visual lang na, ano ba yung hearing, girls?
Auditory.
Auditory, oo. Kasi yung panganay ko gano'n auditory. Okay sa kanya, yung nagkakwentuhan kami, ini-explain ko sa kanya, kahit wala siya mabasa, gusto niya yon. Yung isa ko namang anak, kailangan visual, kailangan nakikita niya lahat. Sulat-sulat. Pag hindi niya nakikita, hindi niya sinusulat, nahihirapan siya. Yung iba-iba. Kaya, the way to, para ma-exercise yung creativity, first, get to know your child. Alamin mo muna paano. And enjoy mo muna yung time ngayon na you're getting to know your child. And then, iniintindi nyo, paano ba ito nagle-learn? Kasi, kung baka mamaya, hindi naman bagay sa kanya yung learning style na yun, at ipipilit mo lang, you will just butt heads.
Yeah.
And hindi pa magiging enjoyable yung time together. So, in terms of creative resources, ang dami pag nasa bahay. I've seen parents use, while cooking, yung mga measuring cups, that's how they use fractions.
Mm-hmm.
They teach fractions, I mean to say. Kung nagka-counting lang, edi mag-count lang kayo ng mga coins. Mag-count lang kayo ng mga dahon. Pag patterns, yung mga dahon-dahon. Ang ganda. And then, pati Lego, ang gandang learning material, ang Lego, ginagamit na nila yon. Meron yan nakita ako sa which is, in-apply ko rin yan dito sa isa kong anak yung Lego niya yung ginagamit ko para maturuan siya ng fractions. Yeah. And even place value. Ang ganda. So, if, the parent has to also try to learn din by themselves, paano nga ba creative ways to teach their kids. Pero if they will just look around their homes, ang dami na nilang pwedeng ituro. Yung idea ng subtraction, kunwari, ito na lang example ko. Meron akong lipstick, 2 lipstick, ito papakita ko sa anak ko. So, okay. 1, kita ba yung lipstick ko? Ayan. Yeah. So, 1 plus 1 equals 2. O pag tinanggal mo yung isa, di 1 na lang. So, meron ka ngayon visual example nung, ano ba yung subtraction? Pag dalawa sila, pag tinanggal mo isa, 1 na lang siya. O, lipstick lang yung ginamit ko, ha?
So, marami talagang ways, no, Michelle? And I like actually what you said about, kasi I'm sure ito yung mga iniisip din ng parents, no? Parang, how do I prevent yung away between me and my child, di ba? Kasi madalas yan di ba? Mag-away, hindi nakikinig sa akin, nasistress ako, magagalit ka, di ba? So I think it all boils down to what Michelle mentioned really, no? Is really to observe your children and how they learn. Kasi if hindi match yung the way you learn with the way they want to learn, doon nagsa-start yung stress in their relationship. Na-observe ko yan kasi recently si Zika din. Nainis ako kasi talon siya ng talon. Alam mo yung tumatalon sa sofa, gano'n. So, tapos nagdaldaldalda, tapos talon. Tapos sabi ni EJ sa akin, kasi mapapansin mo si Zika, pag natututo siya, kailangan niyang naglalakad parang ako. Kasi si EJ ganun Kailangan niya naglalakad para matuto or nagbabasa. So, kailangan gumagalaw. So, ngayon, naintindihan na namin. So, now, when we want her to learn something, parang tatayo siya, ipapresent niya sa amin kung anong natutunan niya. So, ganun na siya ngayon. So, maybe, ang ganda ng sinabi mo, dapat talaga observe your children before. Okay, so I'm sure marami kayong tips, no? So let's leave itong last few minutes natin to share ano pa yung mga iniisip ninyo that you want to impart to our viewers today.
Okay, for me, my last tip will be, because I've been reading all these comments online, and I see na a lot of parents are panicking, and kumbaga sa psychology, yung mga hindi sila regulated right now dahil sa mga nangyayari. Pandemic tayo. And dahil sa nasa pandemic stage tayo ngayon, ang mindset natin talaga is on survival. And then, na-shock pa tayo kasi hindi na nga makapasok ang mga anak natin. And ayaw din naman, most parents don't want to send their kids to schools, di ba? Baka nga ma-endanger pa eh. So, the burden now is on us to educate our kids. And I see a lot of parents thinking that they have to do as well or as good as schools do. And what I want to tell parents is, since nasa bahay yung mga bata, huwag niyo isipin na dapat kayong maging katulad ng mga schools. Huwag. Kasi pagpapahirap yon sa inyo. Huwag niyo isipin na gano'n. In fact, this is an opportunity right now. And we should really take, not just an opportunity, it's really a blessing sa totoo lang. Yes, ang hirap talaga nung nasa pandemic, pero it's a blessing for us families na nasa bahay tayo ngayon. And this is a chance for us to get to know our kids better. Kaya nga my radical proposal to parents is, huwag niyo muna isipin na kailangan yung academics ng anak niyo, ganito, ganyan, ha? Pero of course, we still want them to be educated. But this is the time for you to, since you've sent them to school, that means kasi yung authority ninyo, medyo nabigay niyo na muna sa teachers nila to teach your kids. Kaya nga mahirap kaya sinasabi ng karamihan parents is, ayaw sa akin makinig ng anak ko kasi sabi nila yung teacher nila mas magaling. The only reason the kids say that is because you've given your authority to teach to your kids' teachers. So now is the time to take back that authority and be your kids' teacher. Ikaw na ulit. How are you gonna do this? Una sa lahat, no? Yung una ko sinasabi, get to know your kid first. Get to know your child or your children first. Spend a lot of time with them. Alam niyo yung, I recommend that parents read the 5 love languages. Kasi this one, if you fill up your kids' love tank, pagka filled up sila, then their hearts and minds open to your instruction.
Yeah.
And then once again, you become the authority in their lives. So that way, mas mabilis magturo sa mga anak natin. Kaya ako sinasabi na, huwag niyo muna isipin academics agad eh. Kailangan relationship ang unahin niyo.
Yeah.
Oo. Get to know your kids first. Spend a lot of time with them. And just mend or heal. Or hindi siguro heal eh. Parang, I don't know the right word, girls. Yun na nga, yung kanina sinasabi ko, take back your authority as the teacher of your child, you know. So, and then that way, their minds and hearts will be open. Yun muna ha. So, sabi ko, that's my radical proposal. Huwag niyo isipin academics. Kasi alam nyo, pagka nakuha nyo na yung heart ng kid ninyo, mga anak ninyo, yung pagtuturo nyo sa kanila, mabilis na lang. Hindi kayo mag-aaway kasi ready na silang tanggapin lahat ng mga things na gusto mong ituro sa kanila. See, that's the secret.
Okay, thank you so much, Michelle. Tina, any last advice and tip?
For me, to add on to what Michelle said, it's really a blessing. Actually, I have been receiving a lot of questions and concerns from parents nga, and yun nga yung majority are still working from home, and yun nga parang what do we do with our kids? And siguro my encouragement is yun nga, to look at the situation that we are in now as a blessing and not a burden, and to look at your kids the way they are now, and don't panic that they will be left behind. I mean, who gets to say, diba? I mean, I'm sure si Michelle, si Marielle, si San, ikaw, Ginger, you know a lot of things that I don't know, and that's fine. Diba? Parang we're not here to compete with one another, and we're not here to, parang we need to know all the things all at the same time. And it's radical. Pareho kaming Michelle. Medyo radical eh. Yung parang kailangan everybody's at the same pace, but it's not eh. And I was talking to a mom yesterday. She's a homeschooling mom, and they explored homeschooling for this year for their 6-year-old. So 6 years old this year. So supposedly mag-grade 1 na. Based on the assessment of the provider. And then she was like, should I enroll in a provider, or should we parang I'm not sold on the online learning that this school is offering. And you know what I told her? I said, she's 6. Your daughter is 6. Even if you stop now and take a break from the formal academics and start again when it's time for her to enter grade 1, or when she's ready, when she's older. Think about it. Kasi nape-pressure siya because yun nga, parang dapat ganyan. But it's a totally radical shift in mindset na what if no? What if you let this be a time for kids nga to rediscover yung baka kasi yung iba nasa-stress na talaga sa school, baka this is the time for them to take a break.
Yeah.
Diba? Meron nga akong nakitang post ng isang friend ko, mommy vlogger siya. She's not, kilala mo yun, si Pepot. So she's not, si Pepot Pineda, si Mommy Pepot. So she's not a homeschooler. Pero yung post niya, sabi niya, parang mas okay na mag-miss ng 1 year yung mga anak mo kaysa papasukin mo sila and mawala na talaga sila sa'yo. Yung ganon, yung
mawalan sila ng
yung mawala talaga sila, yung magkasakit sila or something, di ba? Or so parang I know that's a dilemma that a lot face. Pero related to homeschooling naman, yun yung parang don't pressure yourself. Yung sinasabi ni Michelle. Don't pressure yourself and be willing to learn and unlearn the things that you already know. Kasi what we know about schooling and education may not be what works or what will work right now given the current pandemic. So be open to that, and yun nga, parang don't be afraid to jump in if you think that you're called to jump into it. Equip yourself din, like through this, things like this, yung watching videos like this. We just came up with a new blog post on our website. We tried to compile the video interviews that we've done about homeschooling in different media outlets and Facebook live sessions. So we have that link also. If you want it, we can share it with you, Ginger. Kasi nga parang napagod explain paulit-ulit and na-interview na kwento na before. So we compiled everything, and
that's great.
So that if you want to binge watch, not on Netflix muna, pero yan, on those videos. So yun, para may idea. And yun nga, and yun, just we're in this together. Whether you homeschooling or not, you're doing distance learning, we're all parents, and we all want what's the best for our kids.
Yeah, share it with me, Tina, para ma-share ko rin sa mga viewers. Okay, How about you, Mariel? Any last advice, tip?
I agree with syempre with Michelle and Tina. So I won't repeat what they said. Or baka I would also, I don't know. Pero so essentially, I want to say to take a step back, take a break, don't be too hard on yourself. There are so many things going on. Give yourself time to grieve. And then when you're grieving, you can grieving for your past life, for our past life. Right?
That's right.
Now we're not able to do everything that we used to do, and maybe we can't afford everything that we were able to afford before. Mga ganyan, whatever. And so take the time to grieve and not do anything. As Tina and Michelle said, you don't have to do anything yet. And slowly, maybe you can rise out of whatever you're feeling, and you won't be stressed or depressed anymore. And you can finally take small steps in teaching your child. You don't have to do everything. Yun. And if you just want na may gawin yung anak mo, just find something like, whatever. Basahan mo lang ng libro. Just read to your child. Not just, and hindi textbook. Parang awa mo na.
Storybook.
Storybooks, novels, kung ganyan. And
Oh,
picture books for younger kids,
yeah.
and just take the time to be with your children by doing fun things like that.
Thank you, Marielle. And lastly, Stan.
Ako naman, I guess a lot of my friends also ask me, and ang common, ako moving forward na. Moving forward, since I think this will be a new normal for a lot of parents, whether they will homeschool or they will assist their children in online learning. A lot of them ask me, paano yun? Wala akong patience. So, ako wala rin akong patience. Sinasabi ko sa mga friends ko. And it's not a
Ganun.
it's not a requirement. And I always tell them that, yung ginagawa ng mga parents tutoring their children, in reality is really more difficult than what we're doing. Because, mahirap yun eh. Kasi you're still, di ba, parang, ano ka pa, required to address these lessons, or the children are required to learn the lesson. So, I guess now what I'm trying to say, when you change your mindset, when you homeschool, you change your mindset. You just embrace learning alongside your children. I guess just embrace education, and your children will learn beyond the confines of the classroom, beyond textbooks, and learn with them. Learn whatever, research what will work for your family. Embrace that. Don't compare with others. And finally, know your why. Know your why talaga. It's very important. Etch it in your heart because it will be your anchor forever and ever.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I think you ladies have something to announce, no? Sige, you can you can unmute pala. Sorry, the mic. So there. I think you have something to announce, like your conference, virtual conference.
Let's go, Tina.
Ako talaga.
Yes.
Finance. Okay, so we want you to mark your calendars for June 29 to July 3, 2020. So we will be holding our first online event. It's called the Connect Homeschooling and Intentional Parenting Summit. So CHIPS for short. So bakit siya CHIPS? Kasi we will be featuring bite-sized learning sessions for homeschooling families, those who are interested in homeschooling, and those who are just struggling with the kids learning at home. No? So it's a bit different from yung homeschooling, yung Philippine Homeschool Convention that we usually mount, because we want to try to address also the concerns and the needs of parents who might not be ready to embrace homeschooling the way we know it.
Yeah.
But still need parang tools to deal with, having their kids learning at home, which is what the majority of school children in the Philippines will be doing, diba? Starting this school year because of the current pandemic. So we are inviting local and foreign speakers. Watch out kasi meron kaming mga exciting speakers. And we will be announcing more details soon on our Facebook page and on our website. But for now, we have save the date poster. It's posted on our Facebook page. I can share it with you then, Ginger, if you want. So the event is based on a few quotes. One of them is this one from Tamara Shiver. She's a homeschooling mom. But she said, successful teaching is not head-to-head. It is heart-to-heart. So we want to encourage families to connect with one another. So we will also be having it's not just for parents, we'll also be having sessions for kids and for teens.
How nice. Okay, so that is June 29, right? To July
3.
July 3. Okay, sige, abangan namin yan. So I'll share all of the links, all of the notes, no, in the notes section below. So you can visit all of these sites, no. Okay, so thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much for guesting in TV. So I hope
Ginger,
kayo natutunan. Yes.
may I say something?
Yes, sure.
our chips is open to sponsorships by brands. So
Yes.
if they want to join us and promote their products to our audience, they can write to me, Michelle at educatingforlife.co.
Okay, so yan, sa mga brand partners, maybe you can support this really good cause, no? It's really not just for like parents who are homeschooling, but for all kinds of parents who really want to help and support from this community as well, no? On how to educate their
Oh.
children moving
I
forward.
forgot to mention, Ginge. I forgot to mention part of that because we'll be having a minimal registration fee, but part of the fee we will be giving to uh, those affected by COVID-19. So we're still identifying a target group, or we're not sure how, if
NGO
it's frontline, NGO or frontliners or a hospital, but we're still praying about it and discerning. So help us out. So if you have any, suggestions then of those who really, really need, yung mga hindi naabutan talaga ng help at this time. So yun. So
Okay.
it's an event with a cause.
Sige. So thank you so much again, ladies. So that concludes
Thank you
our
also.
episode for today. So I hope makaka-guest na naman sila ulit later on. I'm sure marami na namang tanong after yung virtual conference. And I hope hindi kayo magsawa to share your knowledge also to a lot of parents. Kasi I think these are really like trying times and everyone's figuring out like what to do, no? So this is a good thing that you're setting up. Okay, so thank you everyone. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click on the notification bell for more updates. Bye!